All right. Welcome, everyone, to our presentation info session for Youth Leadership Council 2021-2022. If you are watching this presentation, you may be starting a YLC or have a YLC, or perhaps you are a new facilitator. We do encourage you as you watch this presentation to just take your time or, we re-watch it if you need to. Okay, so this will be the process to become a youth leadership council. So right now you see you're in the first step, which is watching an info session. The next step will be attending an orientation. So for our agenda for today, we'll be going through NYC Service, youth leadership councils, who we are, structure, process, supports, and just stories from our YLC members. And then just say some next steps. So with NYC Service, that is where our program is under, which NYC Service is an office of the mayor. So NYC Service was launched in 2009 in response to the president of that time's call for volunteerism and just the goal of engaging 100 million Americans in service by 2020. So as you see here, this is our mission, which is just building and to deepen and expand civic engagement, like I said. And then our vision is just uniting New Yorkers in service to advance lifelong civic engagement for a more equitable and inclusive city. And below you see some of our values and beliefs: participation, diversity and inclusion, community, and collaboration. So all things that we strive for and believe strongly about. So as said, so since 2014, NYC Service partners with city agencies and community-based organizations to host NYC Youth Leadership Councils, YLCs, in communities across New York City. So hopefully you're one of these organizations right now currently watching this video and you're interested in learning more. So each YLC ties into a citywide network working collectively to impact important local, topical issues and just amplifying youth voice and civic opportunity in our city. Our program provides training and professional development to strengthen youth and adult partnership, and further along in the presentation, we'll go more in depth in how we do that. So bringing in our mission and vision, our mission is just to ensure equitable access to transformative civic opportunities for all NYC high school youth. And this is really, bringing it back to our history of seeing the gap of youth voice included in many important issues, even though our youth are also facing, those same issues that we all face. And our vision is just every NYC high school student is equipped with the skills needed to build stronger communities and an inclusive city. So in here, I'll touch on our values very briefly. Our values is, something that we definitely hold dear in our program and that we're definitely always working towards or striving to ensure. So with justice and equity is just acknowledging the civic opportunity gap and believe that opportunities must be accessible to all youth for a stronger and inclusive city. So if this is like doing outreach to more communities or ensuring that opportunities are being shared across, all the boroughs, that's something that we definitely strive as well as other equity things in the program. Systemic change, we amplify the power of youth voice in action to transform New York into a more fair and just city. Definitely wanting to make sure this, we're impacting not just the short term but for the longer term of not only our program, but in the city overall and the lives of youth. So asset-based approach is just elevating the strength and expertise of young people to drive community change. So we just really focus more on what our youth members or, just members overall have to bring the strength of, those communities versus maybe what is lacking or at least what we think is lacking is we just prefer to just focus on that asset-based approach. And then lifelong development is just investing in powerful civic opportunities to spark a lifelong of engagement for every young person. So this is hopefully is that spark to just really get them involved in whatever, if it's in voting, or if it's in, with the community, or like, for instance, we have YLCs all across New York that focus on different topics and, focus areas. So it can just really be a wide range of things. So with youth and adult partnership, this is definitely something that is very highlighted, because it's cultivating that positive, authentic relationship to build intergenerational bridges and healthier communities. So the key word is partnership. It's not one being higher than the other. It's working collectively and making sure that it is a very authentic and just positive experience for all parties. So if you didn't get the sense of that, youth adult partnership is very important, we have a whole slide dedicated, because wanted to make sure that our YLC really does provide, like in the bullets, an environment of mutual trust and respect, that it just really develops joint partnerships leading to knowledge building experiences. And this means that the roles and responsibilities are shared with youth and adult members. And it's something that can range, but it's something that is discussed with both parties to make sure that we all, that everyone agrees with it. Collaborative decision-making process, again, just make sure that youth are included in that process. The youth members are, and the facilitators as co-creators in developing topic-oriented discussions for meetings, and provide a mutual learning environment. And in here, you'll see just a picture of youth members and just adults just working together collaboratively. As you see, everyone is just sitting down together. And now we will be talking about the stages of a YLC. And this graph really is just a depiction of how those stages look like. But in the next slide, I will go more in depth. So just something to note, that in here you see that reflection and demonstration is going all around, and that is because it's something that should be always happening. And I will say is, I'm going to go back real quickly, just as we go through the stages of a YLC, feel free to come back to this after, or freeze the video at any moment if you need to think things through, or maybe don't understand something, or maybe you're a visual person that after the next slide you need to come back to this. Feel free to do so. So with our stages of a YLC, our first thing that we do is really investigation, and this is, as it says, is just finding out the interests, skills, and talents of your YLC, and learning about community assets and needs by asking questions and conducting action research. Identify, this is a good part, just identify a significant issue to address, or as we say, like a focus area. And I will say in this part is when you probably want to do those team building, and also including youth and discussing their interests and ideas around community needs, because as we say, it's in a youth and adult partnership. And then with preparation, as the next stage is really working towards solutions by clarifying roles and responsibilities, organizing a plan, building a timeline, and gain skills to carry out the plan. And here, collaboration is very key, since everyone involved will be working towards a project and doing that research, and that's very key in this step. And then the next one is just action. So as great as it is to have everything planned out, you need actions to carry that, through policy practice and or advocacy. And it's really to strive for that community change, or impact the community. And as I said before, reflection, demonstration, things that should be happening, or at least on your mind. So with reflection, it's just taking that pause between each of the stages to consider what is happening, and notice how the collective or individually feel. Build awareness on how you are as a council, what is working well, and how you can continually draw upon your abilities to make decisions to affect change. So if you were to go back to here, you see that is something that happened throughout each stages, and it's continuously. And that is on purpose, because if you're working on a project and if you see something that doesn't work, you want to improve on that by maybe doing things different for the next project, or maybe needing to mold a process to whatever it fits best. And then our final thing is really demonstration, which is capturing the YLC experience. Keep track of each stage through photos, writings, video, and articles. Or just as, there's different ways to do so. So that at the end of the process, you have a story to tell. And this is important because we have something called like a YLC end of year, either a summit or a presentation or a video that really just brings together the whole year. So it's very important to just have collections of what your YLC has worked on for the year. And to definitely, if it is a summit, to be able to prepare to present that impact that your YLC did to the overall wider network, since the end of year is every YLC come together. And then now we'll be going to talk about youth voice counts, since it's something also very important to our program.
Hello, everyone. So Youth Voice Counts. This is a part of our logo. This is a part of Youth Leadership Council's branding, and it is integral to the work of what happens at NYC Service and what you do in your Youth Leadership Council. Youth are encouraged to take on leadership roles and opportunities in their respective communities. As YLC facilitators, you will be coordinators, encouraging youth to take on those leadership roles, whether it is sourcing experiences or creating experiences within your council. And youth voice should be amplified in an inclusive environment, especially through the decision-making process. This relates us back to the youth adult partnership model that we saw earlier in the presentation, and I encourage you to go back to that. And moving forward, here we have our logo. We just dissected youth voice counts, and now we're going to go into policy, practice, and advocacy. And these are three fundamental cores of YLC, and different approaches or focuses or topics that you can choose when working with your group of youth in your host site. So, in approaching policy, policy is defined as understanding the laws and governing concepts of a host site. A host site is your organization, as well as their community, and suggesting or influencing change. Practice is reviewing the process of everyday work being done within the host site and or around an issue impacting their community and suggesting or influencing change. And advocacy is giving voice to a cause to raise awareness and influence others to improve the health and well-being of the community. And so on the next slide, we're going to see examples of how policy, practice, and advocacy is applied from the youth leadership councils within NYC Services citywide network. So policy, practice, and advocacy is a way to summarize the focus and experience of your council. We encourage you to associate what you're doing with these terms. And we have over 100 youth leadership councils in our network. And these councils' work falls into either policy, practice, and or advocacy, or a combination of the two, or three. So here are some examples of policy and practice which occurred in the 2020-2021 YLC program year. The Mayor's Office for Prevention of Hate Crimes worked with YLC youth members on designing an anti-bullying curriculum that will be implemented in schools across New York City. And YLC is a collaborative network, and feedback for this curriculum that was co-developed with the YLC youth and the Prevention of Hate Crimes YLC was also given to the Mayor's Office to End Gender-Based Violence's Youth Leadership Council's members for additional feedback. So YLC is a network, and throughout the process, whether it is in implementing changes in policy, practice, or advocacy, it is great to collaborate. And NYC Service can support you with that. Here is an example of advocacy and collaboration. Grow NYC's YLC and the DOE Office of Sustainability's YLC focus on climate wellness within New York City public school system. An example of this was that these two YLC groups came together and worked together on the annual climate summit. And youth from both YLCs put together presentations and facilitated events for their peers in the student body, as well as administrators throughout the Department of Education. An example of practice, policy practice, and advocacy is in 2021, every NYPD precinct conducted a survey to best address persistent traumatic stress environments and bettering local communities through an asset-based approach. So the work that was done throughout New York City Police Department precincts applied policy, practice, or advocacy. And now we are at the supports that youth leadership councils can provide you as a facilitator and your host site. So we provide recruitment and outreach support, the Youth Civic Action Guide, professional development workshops and events, consultations. And in the next few slides, we'll get a little bit more in depth with that. So recruitment and outreach. Recruitment is something that NYC Service can support you in through the Youth Recruitment Support Form, which is an online optional form to receive recruitment support for your YLC. As you can see in the image, we have a screenshot of our 2020-21 YLC Youth application. This shows that by filling out the form, we will create a listing to help you engage youth citywide to hear more about your Youth Leadership Council. And this platform can connect you with youth all across the city. We also, with recruitment, offer workshops on best practices to help you through the youth recruitment process and for retaining your young people in your Youth Leadership Council. For outreach, we offer newsletters, and these occur on a monthly basis. We have a youth newsletter called YLC Now, which provides programmatic updates and opportunities for young people. And we have our adult facilitator monthly newsletter as well, which will have programmatic updates and for you and your young people. We also will share opportunities from fellow YLC organizations. This could be youth leadership councils that have an event, or they're putting on an event and would love your attendance, or this could be partner organizations that have really great professional development or cultural opportunities that could benefit either you as an adult facilitator, your youth, or just being a New Yorker. We will share highlights of the YLC experience throughout the program year through our social media and also our newsletters through the forms of interviews and videos. And later on in the presentation, we will be sharing links to those stories and highlights. And through outreach, we provide consultations to address any concerns, challenges, or ideas for YLC. Again, Here at Youth Leadership Councils, we are here for you. Feel free to email us at nycylc@cityhall.nyc.gov if you are ever in need of support or have a challenge. Next, we'll get into the NYC Youth Civic Action Guide, which is a step-by-step guide for launching a YLC and supporting young people in identifying and investigating and addressing community issues. So this really walks you through the stages of YLC and provides techniques, strategies, and exercises and activities that you can use. We also offer workshops that walk you through the guide and offer spaces to discuss best practices as well as adult facilitators in being part of our network. And with YLC professional development, we offer monthly virtual workshops for both youth and adults. We are currently offering virtual workshops, but as things become safer, we will transition into a hybrid or in-person model, and we will keep you updated with any changes. For adult facilitators, topics we've focused on and can provide support in through our workshops or consultations are hard skill trainings and virtual meeting platforms, youth recruitment and retention, as mentioned before, best practices in facilitating these meetings, and sourcing volunteer and civic opportunities, and implementing the 5-stage model of YLC. We also offer a youth track of professional development workshops, and those topics focus on civic literacy, civic and volunteer opportunities, discussions with city leaders and officials, the amplification of youth voice, and leadership development trainings. These professional development workshop opportunities occur outside of your scheduled YLC meetings, and we encourage you to attend and see other members of our large YLC network come together and learn. These are some of the previous initiatives of youth leadership councils. I will share a few of them, but there are much more. And we encourage you to add topics to this list in our upcoming program year if it did not make this list. We want your council and your youth heard. Some examples are voting, environmental sustainability, urban planning, recycling and waste reduction, anti-racism, gender equality, neighborhood beautification, student advocacy, social justice, participatory budgeting, and much more. In our 2021-2022 program year, here are some host site expectations that we have. And for the first expectation, you're doing that right now. Every adult facilitator will be required to watch a recorded version of the YLC information session as you're doing, and later attend an orientation. More information on that will come to you soon. We will also have the professional development workshops and the YLC network events. So NYC Service hosts a network-wide workshops throughout the program year, and adult facilitators are required to attend on a monthly basis. We ask that your council is in attendance and individual meetings are not scheduled at these times. Adult facilitators will receive a workshop registration form, and if you can't make the workshops, please follow up with us at YLC. We also require programmatic data. At least twice a year, YLC will request councils to fill out surveys to support the needs of the network and to measure the progress. This includes a roster submission of the youth that are a part of your YLC so that they can receive end of year certificates and to receive monthly newsletter updates. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Now is a time in our presentation where we're going to share some of the stories of our youth participants and our adult facilitators. You can find 31 questions with Adam by going to our YouTube channel. If you search on YouTube in the search bar, Youth Leadership Councils, you'll be able to find this video and many more. Here's an example of face-to-face, which is a conversation with YLC adult facilitators. And you can also find this on YouTube through the search bar, NYC Youth Leadership Councils. And we encourage you to check out not just these 2 video highlights, but the many more that will be coming to the channel. And so at this point, you have completed the YLC Info Session requirement. Your next steps will be attending an orientation, completing the YLC registration form, recruiting youth to be a part of your initiative, and meeting regularly with your YLC to take action. If you have any questions or are of ever need of support, please email us at nycylc@cityhall.nyc.gov. We thank you for taking the time to review this info session. And as we mentioned before, please feel free to go back and review. We wish you the best of luck this program year. Thank you very much.